In this video, we're going to walk you through some of our amazing automations and what they look like when a patient signs up for care. Namely, you'll get to see how task lists, triggers, and patient alert templates work together, and how to quickly set up automations so as the patient progresses through care, the system does most of the work for you. Each of these features has its own video, so I won't be going through each feature in depth, but instead showing you how they work together for a proposed workflow. We will include the individual feature video links below this video. To start, my test office has three very important features already built: task lists, triggers, and patient alert templates. I've created a day 2 task list that itemizes tasks that need to be completed when a patient comes in to their day 2, or also called report of findings appointment. I'm going to navigate to system settings, task lists. And here is my day 2 task list. The day 2 task list shows common action items that need to be completed at the patient's second visit. So typically a patient is seen and examined on the first visit and then presented with a care package of sorts on the second. So this is a list of action items that need to be completed upon the site up. So for instance, taking a payment, adding a visit tracker, adding the patient alert template. You can also designate what time frame these tasks are due. Now, next, I've also created a trigger that will automatically apply that task list when a day 2 appointment arrives. So again, system settings, triggers. I'm going to navigate to the day 2 trigger. And what the trigger does is, first of all, this is the criteria that will actually occur. And this is the trigger that will basically create that occurrence. So for instance, the appointment status is arrived on a day 2 appointment, it will automatically attach this task list. So again, once that appointment type of day 2, that's just what I called the appointment, has the appointment status of arrived, then it's automatically going to attach the day 2 task list to the patient's profile for me. And lastly, we strongly recommend that you pre-make patient alert templates for your most common care plans that will automatically remind your front desk or the patient when certain special appointments are due or other milestones need to occur. So I'm going to navigate to system settings, patient alert templates. I've already created a 12-visit alert template here, but just so you kind of have a general idea of what it is that I want the system to automatically remind me on the 5th adjustment to schedule the scan at the next visit. Or for instance, on the 11th visit of a 12-visit care package to say, hey, next visit is the last visit. Or another example would be on the very last visit to remind the front desk that this is indeed the last visit and to discuss wellness or vitality. Again, we recommend building these for all of your most common care packages so they can easily be attached to a patient's account upon sign up. So now we're going to take a look to see how do all of these features work together. So I'm going to navigate to my test office here, and we're going to start from the very beginning. I'm going to click New to create a new patient. And I'm going to call this Automations Test. Say we learned about this patient from the gym, and we're going to schedule the appointment. The appointment is now scheduled, and I am going to arrive the appointment. The appointment is now arrived. Now I'm going to navigate to the SOAP note, patient chart beta. This is where the provider essentially lives. And then we're going to pretend like the provider is actually seeing this patient. You can see the patient is in queue here on the left. I'm going to click on the patient and then put in a SOAP note. And depending on your workflow, either the provider can attach the charge or sometimes the front desk does it. But in this case, we're just going to have the provider do it. We're going to add the new patient charge of $150 and apply the charges. We are not going to say this as a default quite yet because we don't want the system to automatically populate a new patient visit upon every visit. So we're just going to hit no for now, and we're going to hit submit the note. I'm going to navigate back to the home screen. Now, typically, again, your patient has been seen by the physician. So typically then the front desk would take the payment for the visit. You'll notice on the ledger, it will show that there is a $150 balance. So you can either take the payment through this new transaction button, or for speed's sake, use the little dollar sign here, but we're going to take the payment. I'm going to put it down as cash. It just defaulted to the amount due, and I'm going to hit submit. So if I look in the patient's ledger here, you can see that they had the service of the new patient detailed exam and they paid for said service. So their balance is now at zero. Now, let's say that they are coming in for their second visit. I'm just going to use the same day just because it's easier. Now, I'm going to have what we call a day 2 appointment. That's typically when we go over our findings from their initial exam, and I'm going to schedule the appointment. I'm going to arrive the patient. And now you can see that the system automatically attached that day 2 task list that we had built at the system level. If I click on this bar, it will bring me right to the task list to give you the next appropriate steps that would typically happen on that day 2 visit. Another way to navigate to that task list is actually to go right into the profile and the tasks tab. But before we even start to address the steps that you would typically take from the front desk perspective, we just make sure that, again, that the patient is checked in, and we're going to get the SOAP note done because the patient is going to be seen. Typically, they would review either x-rays or scans with the doctor and then be presented with a care plan of sorts. So I'm going to navigate again to patient chart beta, select the patient that is in queue, navigate to my note, do another SOAP note. And in this case, I'm not going to enter the charge because many times this will fall on the responsibility of the front desk, at least initially while they're signing up for care. So for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to skip this and then hit submit. I'm going to navigate back to my home screen. And this is where the task list begins. You'll see also that there's another task list shortcut here as well, showing that there's 5 tasks that need to be completed. So let's go through it. Typically, if this patient is going to sign up for care, the system will remind me to take that either monthly first installment or the prepay. So we're going to go ahead and do that and click on the dollar sign here. Let's say, I'm going to click on payment, that this patient signed up for a 12-visit care plan. And we're going to do prepay, and it's a $600 care plan. I'm going to take cash, and I'm going to pay $600. This patient is prepaying for care. They just said they came for the front. And they said, yep, I'm ready. I'm signing up. Let's do it. So now you will see once they've prepaid for care that they have a $600 credit on their account that is now just waiting to be utilized as they get their adjustments. And then let's navigate back to our task list. First thing, we did the taking of the payment. Now we want to tell the system what to charge and at what discounted rate. So I'm going to do that through the default charges tab. I'm going to navigate to cases, default charges tab. And every time this patient comes in, instead of paying $90 per adjustment, I'm going to do a write-off of $40 because they have prepaid. And I want that discounted adjustment to automatically populate at every single visit because the assumption is this person is getting adjusted at every single visit. I'm going to hit Save Changes. Now let's go back to here. I've added my default charge. I'm going to hit it as complete. Now I want the system to track how many adjustments have occurred from this day moving forward since they signed up today. I'm going to go to my visit tracker. I'm going to add a tracker. I'm going to also, just to keep things consistent and have lots of description, name this a 12-visit prepay. It's going to track my adjustments. Let's just give it a color. I want it to start today. It's going to start at 0 and let me know when we've hit 12. And again, we have a whole video that will kind of go into this more in depth, but I just want you to see how it works in real life workflow and application. Now I have my visit tracker. I'm going to mark it as complete. Now, the system now knows what to charge at what discount. It knows to count the visits, but we also want it to tell us when any of those special appointments are due automatically. So I'm going to go to the Alerts tab, create the patient alert from a template. I already have that little 12-visit care package made. Remember, we reviewed this just a few moments ago. And I'm going to hit Create Alerts. Now, as this patient comes in for care, automatically on the fifth visit, it's going to say that, hey, we need to schedule a scan for the next visit, and so on and so forth, automatically attached. I'm going to go back to my task list. That is now complete. Now, again, every office's workflow is different, but in this scenario, the front desk is probably going to add today's adjustment to the ledger. So I'm going to go to Transactions tab just so you can kind of see what it looks like on the ledger itself. I'm going to hit New Transaction, and they got the 3 to 4 adjustment today. And you'll notice it automatically then pulls, because we set our default charge, that discounted amount. And I'm going to hit Submit. I'm going to refresh my screen. You can see now that my balance has whittled down by the price of that $50 adjustment. And as the patient progresses through care then, services rendered will equal services paid upon the completion of this care package. By doing so, we can then go back to our task, mark it as complete, and this patient now is officially enrolled in care. We've completed all of their alerts. The system will automatically track how many visits are done. So for instance, this is a 12-visit tracker and one of them is already completed. The system knows exactly what discounted fee to pull, and the system will automatically remind you of any special visits or appointments or educational times through that patient alert template. So that is how you can use our automations to let the system work for you.